Retro.
And welcome everybody to another episode of the Animanicast.
Happy Narfday!
What? No, already?
Yup, it's my birthday! The one day we don't try to take over the world and do everything I want to do, no matter what!
Oh, Pinky.
Nope, it's not Pinky today. Today, I want you to call me Geraldo!
Why would I call you Geraldo, Pinky?
No, just Geraldo, not Geraldo Pinky. On second thought, I sort of like the sound of that. Geraldo Pinky. Actually, what if I shortened it to just Pinky? Ooh, I like that best. Call me Pinky today, brain.
And welcome everyone to another episode of the Animanicast. Yes, this is a podcast that, of course, is dedicated to the animated television series Animaniacs, as well as other shows within the Rugerverse, such as Tiny Toon Adventures, Pinky the Brain, and Freakazoid. And we're going to talk about the Animaniacs Reboot. We're going to talk about all the cultural references and everything like that. And in the end, we're going to give this episode a Water Tower rating. I am Joey, and joining me once again is my brother Nathan.
Hola, Kiko.
And across the country in Georgia, there's Kelly.
Hello.
Hello. Well, we're back here doing reboot episodes. Woo-hoo. And this is the seventh episode of the Animaniacs Reboot. Gosh, it's kind of a mixed bag for me, but if someone were to ask you about this episode in just a few words, what would you tell them, Nathan?
Jam-packed.
It is. There's a lot of stuff in it, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And Kelly, what about you?
There's a George Lucas reference.
Ooh, that's right. No Spielberg reference that we can think of at the top of my head,
No.
but definitely a Lucas reference. It's, beggars can't be choosers.
Speaking of Spielberg, so just a segue.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a 90th birthday gala concert for John Williams in June.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you become a Kennedy Center member, you could buy tickets before tomorrow.
Ooh.
So I did.
Ooh.
And so Spielberg's going to be there, and I don't know, other people. And so anyway, I bought tickets for John Williams' 90th birthday bash in Washington, D.C.
Wow. So
I don't even know if I can go because I'm starting a new job, and hopefully, and I need shoulder surgery. And so I don't know. Hopefully I can get time off and make it out there. And COVID isn't such a big thing, but I was like, well, I'll hate myself if I don't buy the tickets at least. So
you just promise your boss I'll bring you back something from DC, and there's always like tons of junk stores where you can just buy souvenirs.
Yeah, but I figure it's John Williams' 90th
you got
birthday.
to. That sounds like fun.
I mean, he'll have like 90 more birthdays. It ain't that big of a deal because he's immortal. But I thought it'd be cool.
But yeah,
definitely.
And when you talk to Spielberg, see if he wants to be on the show.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. I mean, totally. We'll get him on.
You know me, I will do my utmost to get within speaking distance of him politely.
Yes.
And not scare him.
Steven!
Spielberg.
Sometimes I imagine just seeing him randomly at an airport or something, and I yell. Don't do that.
I mean, yeah, because the thing is, if you could be polite, and then there's I don't know what you would do in that situation. You yell,
faint.
Faint, exactly. There's so many different ways, but it's like, I guess just being polite is the best. That's the best way to do it.
I was polite when I met George Lucas, and I was very, very nice and respectful, and totally did not freak out until later. So
there you go, and that's the way to do it, folks. You're meeting voice actors, meeting celebrities. Just try to be cool And then when you walk away, scream and everything like that. I think they...
Yeah. Try to treat them like a person.
Yes. Please. Yes. Same goes for us, by the way. You know, I'm so tired of TMZ outside the house. Come on, guys.
Oh, no. Just let me go out
live
to
my
dinner in
life.
peace just one time. The helicopters, too. Oh, my gosh. Don't get me started.
Don't get me started. Well, let's go ahead and talk about today's episode. But before we do, we got to talk about when it was released. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but this episode, the one we're talking about today, which of course features the segments Yakko Amakko, The Longest Word, Happy Narfday, and Magna Cartoon, well, this premiered on Saturday, November 5th, 2021. And Nathan, we need to have the November 5th Facts theme song.
Woohoo.
Oh, there are 365 days in a year, but there's only one day that this episode came out, and that is November 5th. That's right, November 5th. And these are the November 5th facts.
Yeah, that was a really good one, Nathan.
Thank
Excellent
you.
job.
I had to look up
clap
how
with
many
that.
days are in a year. No.
I'm Googling this right now.
Like, what?
Well, let's go ahead and talk about today's episode. Of course.
Oh, don't you want the facts?
Oh, yeah, I guess. No, never mind. Nathan, give us the facts.
Okay. Let's see. I looked these up. Okay. So in 1938, Looney Tunes released a cartoon called Porky in Egypt, which was racist or something.
Probably.
should watch it.
If any cartoon character goes to any other country,
yeah,
it's going to be racist.
I didn't actually watch but from the little screenshots I saw, I'm like, probably not politically correct.
For years, I thought Looney Tunes, just from experience, yeah, those are the ones that made racist cartoons. But then about 15 years ago or so, I got the Mickey Mouse in black and white collection for Disney Treasures. Oh yeah, Disney did lots of them too.
Oh,
it's
wow.
like anytime you see the title Mickey on Safari or Mickey Goes to Africa or something like that. Oh, you're in for some good old fashioned racism.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was Porky in Africa, and that's where he meets Dodo or whatever.
That's Wacky Land, actually.
Wacky Land, is that what it? But it's
Yeah.
like it's Africa, right? Like it's
maybe, I don't know.
I think
haven't seen it in so many years.
See Wacky Land, and it's in Africa, if I remember. I don't know.
Oh.
I remember that one being very racist. I was like, ooh. And then I have some Narf days too. So since this is a birthday, so here we go. We have 1955. Kris Jenner was born, and in 1980, Luke Hemsworth was born. So some Narf days. So there we go.
So
in themes of the episode.
what year was Chris Hemsworth born again?
Luke Hemsworth. Was 1980.
1980.
Yeah, no one cares about Luke Hemsworth, but
No. Yeah. So he's in his 40s. Luke, I don't even know what Luke Hemsworth's been in other than being Chris Hemsworth's brother.
Wasn't he the one in Westworld?
Yes, he was
That's
in
why
Westworld.
I haven't seen it yet. Oh well.
Yeah, you should see Westworld. That would also have been good for the Westworld episode. I guess.
That's true. Or Hemsworth discussion right now.
But he was in Thor: Dark World and Thor: Ragnarok.
That's right. He played Did he play the alternate Thor? Or something? Maybe.
Maybe I can't remember.
I don't know what's going on. Let's just get into this. I know what is going on here in this.
Yeah, so he
Animaniacs
played
episode.
actor Thor, so he must have been playing.
That was the that's what I'm thinking. Okay. Silly stuff. Well, before we get to the discussion of today's episode, let's of course mention the variable verse, which was, "Are you not entertained?"
Are you not entertaining?
It's yet another Gladiator reference.
Yeah,
I like Gladiator.
Yeah.
They did that. She said that before in the first episode of this season. So
Dot looked a lot plumper in this version, though. She's
so Wacko was making gainies, and now she's
really putting on gainies. Let me tell you. Let's go ahead and get into today's episode. We're going to start off with Yakko Amakko. And Yakko Amakko was written by Lucas Crandalls and Timothy Nash, and it was directed by Brett Varon. And Nathan, why don't you tell us what happens here in Yakko Amakko?
All right. Well, Yakko is super excited because he no longer has health coverage, but he's got a bunch of ice creams. So many ice creams.
You know, I was going to vote no to WB canceling our health plan, but that unlimited dairy-free ice cream for a whole hour counter was too good to refuse. Ow!
Unfortunately, we see a pen draw a hole beneath him, and he falls through, and most of the ice cream goes all over the place. You know, it's a whole mess of things happening with him because this giant pen keeps drawing things, and it's very much like Duck Amuck, which is like a Looney Tunes cartoon, which Yakko points out to the animator, whoever's doing this.
Yeah. No need to mention that as a cultural reference. Yakko does it. So it's like
he does it for us. But all sorts of things keep happening to his ice cream. He's very upset. Eventually his ice cream's completely gone and replaced with Pepe Le Pew from Looney Tunes.
This is not something I would usually say, but things may be moving a little fast for moi.
That's when he's just about had it. He keeps yelling at the animator. Basically, he's trying to say that he's an original and that his voice is original and all these things. But every time he says something like, my voice is original, he gets a new voice that sounds like Ralph.
Change me back into a Warner.
Dot.
I meant a Warner brother.
Yeah, or Wacko.
Actually, wait. I've always wanted to try this. People used to say there were better drummers than me.
So it's pretty funny there. If he's original, look, there's like 10 Yakkos now, and they're all talking, and now he's having an existential crisis, and he's crying, and he's like, please just don't give me more arms. And you know what that animator does? They give him more arms after he explicitly said, don't give me more arms. So what he does, he takes his 6 arms and he grabs the pen and pulls the animator in, and she's like, don't hurt me. You're my favorite character. I love you. And so I don't know why she was doing all these mean things to him, but
she's very bored.
Then he's like, oh, that's right. I'll forgive you if we be mean to other people. So then they're mean to Dr. Scratch and Sniff and Niles Neihart and Nora Narita by doing different things to them. And then they have ice cream, and
there you go. And they made up.
Yeah. So I guess to be specific, Dr. Scratch and Sniff, there's a bunch of clones. Niles is shrunk, and Nora's voice is turned to Daffy Duck. So
it almost sounded like you said Niles is drunk.
Right? Niles is shrunk.
Niles was shrunken.
Niles was drunk and shrunk. He might have been drunk. I don't know.
Maybe. Don't lift weights while drinking. That is a bad combination. Well, this is a interesting one to start off with. I know that a lot of people out here were very happy with one particular cultural reference in this, and this was the appearance of Pepe Le Pew in this one. Pepe Le Pew comes in, which I know a lot of people in the Animaniacs community were very happy to see him because he's been
he's canceled.
That famous canceled skunk.
I don't even remember him being canceled.
He wasn't like even officially canceled. It's just that Warner Brothers is kind of choosing not to use him anymore in properties, I think.
He wasn't in Space Jam came out and he wasn't in Space Jam. And it's like in Space Jam had everything. So
exactly.
That's a pretty good show that he's not going to be used a lot. If you're not in Space Jam, Warner Brothers doesn't care about you. Freakazoid wasn't in
everything. Exactly. They had what do they got? They had the Jetsons in there. They had Jabberjaw.
They had every
They had
single thing.
Yakko, Wacko, and Dot were in the background.
Yeah,
and they even had cosplayers trying to pretend that they were Mr. Freeze and Penguin.
Yeah, they had Harry Potter's and Iron Man's, or Iron Giants. I
really didn't like that sequel.
That wasn't very good. I saw it, but
I didn't like it at all. Anyway, but I'm sure if Pepe Le Pew was in it, it would be even probably worse.
I don't think it would have made any difference.
I think Pepe Le Pew is always, it's one of those characters growing up that I was like, I kind of didn't want that when the Looney Tunes hour was on. I kind of got like, oh, is this one? Or there was like 3 Pepe Le Pew cartoons, and they all seemed to kind of blur together into one, and none of them were that great.
I think I liked it when he was painted black, and then the cat fell in love with him, and then he wanted to get away. I think that was my favorite.
Oh, I think I remember that one.
Yeah, I did like the one where when the cat would run away, she would sometimes say "le pant," something like that. Like that is little cute things like that, but still, yeah, kind of obviously not the kind of humor that you would have necessarily have in today's. It's yeah.
Well, I mean, like, is Animal gonna get canceled from the Muppets?
He does he love
attack
women
anymore? What's that?
But he has not been canceled. But I mean, he doesn't really. They don't feature him very prominently, but he still pops up every so often.
He just freaks out about drums now. He doesn't really freak out about women and chase women around. But
So I was like, that's the other character I thought of that has a very Pepe Le Pew kind of character, like lady. Yeah,
well, I mean, if they're not going to have the Warners say "Hello, Nurse," then they're certainly not going to be having a skunk chase around a cat that is not happy with being chased around. It's like, dude, just take a hint. No means no. Well, so they, Yakko / Wacko, I guess you could say, does his Ringo Starr voice at one point, which I thought was kind of funny because it actually really did sound like early Wacko as well. Just like, here's Wacko as we know him, and now we'll go back to early season 1 stuff where you hear Wacko and he's like, well, he's really deep. Anyway, that's pretty much it for, I guess, Nancy Cartwright returned.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
Yeah, voice of the animator. Of course, she's the voice of Bart Simpson, and in Animaniacs, she voiced Mindy. So
from Mindy and Buttons.
Was that Mindy grown up?
Maybe
that's why she maybe likes to torment. Well, it's not really. Mindy never consciously tormented Buttons.
They should have had the animator.
Actually, Mindy. I forget. In this reboot, was one of the figures that was actually mounted on the wall.
Oh yeah,
how weird that was.
I just choose not to think about the end of
that episode.
the last 5 minutes or whatever.
There's a lot of cartoons of the reboot that I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that happened in this thing. Okay, well, let's move on. Well, and there's a lot of stuff going on in the animators animating room or office with references to other shows. But what did you guys think about this first cartoon? Kelly, let's start with you.
I thought I was going crazy for a minute watching it because there was that split second where Yakko looked like he did from the original series.
Right.
And I was like, oh, he looks like he used to. And it's not a dramatic change, but I know a lot of people really pay attention and can even, tell you which company animated which episode and stuff. And I'm not that good at it. So I was like, so I was pleasantly surprised that I actually recognized the difference, without them next to each other. So, because I don't know, it just kind of struck me. And then I liked it when they did the like the Van Gogh reference, and then there were some other artists, and now I can't remember what other art they.
Salvador Dali was in there.
Okay, so I thought so. So that was the what's the name of that one? Persistence of Memory.
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, yeah,
or time,
and then
I'm not quite sure, but yeah.
Oh yeah, maybe the Persistence of Time. And then what was the other? There was a third, I thought, and I should have written it down. But
why aren't these written down in our little notes right here?
I don't know.
We did some copy and pasting here.
No, I had it right. It is Persistence of Memory.
Okay, yeah.
So, but it is Melting Watches. Yes. The Melting Watches, baby, and the Van Gogh stuff was cool. I'm such an art nerd. I love artists, but I thought it was interesting. A little, not completely new, since it was sort of based on an earlier cartoon.
Yeah.
But the different voices and stuff was kind of interesting, and
it was also.
It was kind of.
I was going to say it was also seen even in Tiny Toon Adventures. Remember with the Looney beginning when it was like just Buster talking to the animator and stuff. So it's
and apparently there was a Looney Tunes in the new series where Bugs Bunny is talking to what turns out to be Daffy Duck.
Daffy Duck, because in the original one, Bugs Bunny was the animator tormenting Daffy.
Ain't I a stinker?
But anyway, yeah. Anything else, Kelly, that you?
No, that's all I could think of.
And Nathan, what about you? Anything in here that you really particularly liked in this first cartoon?
I liked hearing Ralph's voice. I guess I don't know. It was fun. Hearing all the voices was fun, I guess. And yeah, I don't know. I'm glad he got ice cream at the end, I guess.
Well,
he got to sing a little bit of Yakko's World, which is nice.
That's true, and they keep, which still makes me wonder. I think I don't think that they have to necessarily pay Randy for residuals.
Because that one was
changing
like
the tune again.
People love my beautiful tenor voice. United States, Canada, Mexico, Panama, Haiti, Jamaica, Peru,
Republic of the Dominican.
Yep, tune was different. The time before they had different lyrics. So this time,
well,
stay as far away as we can.
Exactly. Can't pay him that $5. I don't know. I have no idea if that's actually true or not. I'm assuming that it's probably just bought by, but I don't know. Music has different rules than in writing.
I would think he would get some. If it gets to the point where they have to credit it, then he would get some residuals. I think So it was not at the point where they had to credit it. So
that is true. Well, I liked the bit with Dr. Scratch and Sniff talking to himself. I thought that was fun. I didn't really like this first segment though, just because it looked weird. I just had the animation just kind of looked a little off with Yakko. And when the whole point of the cartoon is to pay attention to very closely to what's going on with Yakko and his look and everything like that, I would like it for him to actually look good. He also, in this entire episode, it's another one of these COVID recordings where Rob is using equipment that is not that great. And he always sounds stuffier, or, just muffled more.
Tin canny or something. Yeah,
just something's going on with that recording that he was using, and it just drives me nuts that they didn't get better recording for him. And the one last thing I didn't really like about it is after multiple viewings, that clicking, bonk, 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 all those little sounds that the animator makes really get annoying. It sounds like the most annoying cell phone game. It's like if someone's playing Candy Crush or something next to you with the volume turned up all the time. It's like, clunk, 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 clunk. It's like, turn that off. That's what I felt like when I was like the third time watching this cartoon. I'm just like, oh God, that stupid noise. I just give me a nice little something like a pencil moving, please. Anyway, but overall it was fine. It was fine. But I guess there's more stuff to talk about, so we better move on to our next
jam-packed.
It's jam-packed. It's the longest word.
It's time for another mandatory Warner Brothers educational content break. And now, the longest word in the English language with Yakko Warner.
And the longest word was written by Kathleen Chen and Brian Polk, and it was directed by Katie Rice. Nathan, you did such a great job telling us what happened in the first one. Tell us what happens here in the longest word.
Longest word? Oh, man. So we find out that the longest word in the English language is
anti-disestablishmentarianism, defined as being against disestablishment and all that nasty tarianism.
And that's it?
Or is it?
What? Oh, yeah. Then Wacko's like, hey, yeah, I've got a question. And they're like, why are you always teaching? Wacko and Dot are asking Yakko. And Wacko's like, yeah, I found a longer word in the English language, which is some other long word. Is pseudo. We'll have Wacko
I can't
say
even.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Wacko, take it away.
Floxinocine hillipilification. Defined as the habit of deeming something as worthless.
These words are so complex. I'm really the thing I liked. I would just get to the thing I liked most about this cartoon is the fact that Rob, Jess, and Tress could say these words so well, and I'm sure there was many takes to get them to say these words properly, or maybe not because they're so amazing. But those words, I was like, I cannot say that. I could not say that if a gun were held in my head. I would be.
I could say anti-disestablishmentarianism.
Well, okay,
Yeah, that
so
one's
the
easy.
first one, sure, maybe. I'm not even going to say yes, I can, because I'm not even going to try right now. But the second, the other two, no way.
Yeah, the pneumo, and then Dot gets her last one, which is something with volcanonosis.
Yeah.
You see this word? Pneumono ultra microscopic silico volcano eosis? It's over 40 letters.
Wow, what does it mean?
No speaking unless spoken to.
And that's some sort of disease, because they don't say what it is in the.
Oh, that's right. They say the definition, and she never defines it.
Ciliocosis. I don't know, some sort of disease. So it's a medical term. It's, there may be even longer words than what they find. But then they end the episode by watching The Big Bang Theory in Spanish. And there we go. I think that's how it
they
is.
end the episode in a nice way to snarkily talk about how the sitcom era is ruining the brains of people.
Yeah, and The Big Bang Theory is not funny, which, it's not. So.
Well, yes, in whatever language you put it in. I've never watched Big Bang Theory other than before Conan would come on. The last, it's like on your DVR where it records the last 10 seconds of the show that came before it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was always like a lame joke. And I'm like, yep, this is why I'm not watching this show. Get to the show that I want to watch. Well, let's go talk about the longest word. Let's see. What were some things you liked about it? Anything in particular? Kelly?
I thought it was interesting that they called Yakko out on him always being the one who teaches things.
Because he's the oldest brother.
Yeah, but
but
that
also,
doesn't
where's Miss Flamille?
Doesn't mean he's the smartest.
This is true.
So, I've had to teach my older siblings how to spell things, but I'm the English nerd in the family, so I'm the reader, writer, whatever. So, I went to county spelling bee several times growing up. Total nerd, but and so I liked the words. I wish they kind of went a little bit more slower, so I could actually figure out how to pronounce these words. I'd have to see them written down, on a computer or something where I could. They're not going by very quickly in animation,
right?
Because I assume that they're real words. I don't even know. I know
they are.
Yeah. I know the first one is because I remember my brother came home one day from school. He's like, I learned the longest word in the English language. So that's how we learned about anti-disestablishmentarianism.
Which I did like Yakko's definition of that too. I thought that was pretty funny.
It's pretty accurate. It's
yeah.
Yeah. So I thought it was kind of different and cute. Quick little cartoon.
Yeah. Mr. Spider was also pretty cute with
and educational. Yeah, I like the because I was like, oh yeah, I knew they had 8 eyes, but I didn't know that some didn't have 8 eyes, which I guess I should have known.
Thanks, Mr. Spider. I learned a new fact today.
That's wonderful, Yakko. But the most important lesson of all is to be yourself and friendship.
And I liked how they acknowledged we both learned something.
Yeah. I think they have even less than 6. There are some that have 4. They always come in pairs of 2.
Oh.
Always 2 there are.
Yeah. In pairs of 2 they are. Yeah. So so there's no odd numbered spiders eyes.
They're all pretty odd, but no. Yes.
Yeah, no cyclopses, but there's some 4-eyed, 6 eyes, and then 12, and I don't know if 10, but Yeah, I think if like both all these long words, like you could break them down into each like part and you can figure out what the word is just by breaking down, which is why they're fun words.
Yeah.
But the actual longest word may be like 200,000 letters long or something. And
you just have to make it up.
Well, it's the chemical composition of titin.
Oh,
titin.
Really?
Yeah. The largest known protein. And if you say every like methylenyl, like, because it repeats the same things over and over again. So like, but that might not be a word because it's not in any dictionary.
Yeah, it doesn't count.
So you're saying it won't appear in a Wordle puzzle?
Oh gosh, well that's yeah. I gotta do today's Wordle. It was the first one that my wife wasn't able to solve.
Oh, I got it.
Ooh, well I've been
was
able
it
to
turtle.
I didn't even start playing until yesterday because I didn't even know what it was or how to do it. So yesterday, I got 6 out of 6. So it took me 6 tries, but today I got it in 4 because now I actually knew what I was doing.
Yeah, exactly. I've been getting them in 3 or 4 or 5. So don't spoil it for me. I gotta try later. Well, anyway, Wordles.
Words with Z's and X's, and you want to do. What's the best 6-letter word? Do you start with the same word every time?
Probably be a good idea, wouldn't it? Well, anyway, that was the Wordle side note right there. Let's go ahead and get.
Oh! I wanted to point out Maurice LaMarche is also in the cartoon.
That's true.
I was like, very obvious.
I was just doing his.
Oh, that's just. Yeah.
His voice.
That's just his voice. I was like, I recognize that voice.
Yeah, if you're just talking to Maurice LaMarche, like, hey, I really like you on Pinky the Brain, he would sound just like that narrator going, thank you very much. Well, let's go ahead and talk about Happy Narf Day. Happy Narf Day was written by James Butler and directed by Katie Rice. Kelly, what happens here in Happy Narf Day?
Okay. So it's Pinky's birthday, basically, but he calls it Narf Day, which is kind of cute. And so on this day, Brain has to do whatever Pinky wants to do. And he has the whole day planned out. And he even has a song for his Narf Day, which is hilarious.
Let's get it over with, shall we?
They go to the beach and hang out and eat. He likes to eat street beans.
Street beans, Brain? Ooh, you haven't had a good street bean until you've had one here.
They're called string beans, Pinky.
No, string beans, Pinky, is my jazz name. These are street beans.
And they taste sidewalky. So they're going through this whole day and doing all these things that Pinky wants to do. And while he's eating his street beans, Brain sees this hipster, as he calls it, jewelry booth, and he sees this really rare amulet, and it has some kind of component in it that will help him take over the world, and it's ancient and one of a kind. And he tries to hide that he's buying it, but Pinky sees it, and so he has to play it off and says that it was his birthday present, and he's bought him this amulet. And Pinky has a really difficult time saying the word amulet.
Oh, that's very sweet, Brain, but I don't need some silly ambulance.
Amulet.
Omelette?
Amulet.
Amulet?
Close. Amulet.
Got it, fancy feast.
Which is also funny. So they get back to the lab, and Pinky's all tucked in. He says it was the best Narf day ever, and Brain tries to take the amulet away, and Pinky's like, no. And he wants to polish it, he says. And Pinky tries to argue with him and says that he likes it just the way it is. And the amulet it falls, but I think it falls, but it's fine. But then a bird picks it up and then drops it.
Yeah,
and
one of those pigeons from the cutening. Remember that one that they licked? Yeah.
Oh yeah. So and then the gas or whatever was inside the amulet escapes. Brain ends up admitting that he's going to use it in his plan to take over the world, and it hurts Pinky's feelings.
Pinky, do you realize what you've done? That amulet contained the missing ingredient for my absolute zero theory. With it, I could have taken over the world.
You mean you just wanted my present for yourself?
Of course I did. The thought of world domination was the only thing that kept me sane during the barrage of asinine expeditions that you took me on today.
Oh.
He tells Brain that it actually isn't his Narfday, that it was like a month ago, but Brain was too busy, and he didn't make a big deal about it that Brain forgot his Narfday. And he said, "Don't you want to know what the last thing I had planned for the day is?" And his plan was actually to help Brain take over the world. And Brain gets these really big anime puppy dog eyes, things going on. It's really cute. And he wipes away a tear. I mean, he literally wipes away a tear.
Perhaps I did end up solving my absolute zero theory after all, Pinky. For I am an absolute zero when it comes to being a friend. Can you ever forgive me?
Sure I can, Brain. That's what friends do. But can we do the last thing on my birthday list?
Of course, Pinky. Whatever you want.
I want to take over the world.
Come, Pinky. Then we must prepare for tomorrow night.
Why, Brain? What are we going to do tomorrow night?
Are you serious? You just said... never mind.
That's about it.
A very sweet ending right there with this episode, Pinky the Brain one. Not too many necessarily references to things. I mean, those world leaders appear again. That they keep. This is like the third in a row that they just love bringing this guy's back each time. This time,
no speaking, so we don't get to hear.
Yes, and this time Brain fantasizes again. I got to get used to this kind of mean Brain that's in this reboot, because he fantasizes about not just he fantasizes about taking the aquarium sharks out and attacking the people with it and killing the world leaders by pulling, taking up the heat all the way until they basically die in the sauna.
Did you read his note what he wanted?
I did not.
So he wanted his face on the to be on every part of that Mount Rushmore, and he wanted a villa in every country or something. I don't know. It was the most interesting part was having his face as Rushmore, every one of them,
every single one. That is kind of a but yeah, the Brain he is kind of a meaner guy. That's why it was nice to see such a sweet kind of moment at the end right there where, the Brain, I mean, it is a very kind of sweet thing just to begin with, the whole concept of I'm going to do this for Pinky, but I can't tell him. It would break his heart if I told him that I'm getting this amulet right now. Instead of, because it's his birthday and I don't want to show him that my focus is on anywhere else but him. So, even though it doesn't get really super sappy sweet until the last few seconds of the cartoon, the whole thing had an undertone of niceness and friendship and everything. Now, this was interesting that in the deleted storyboards that Lisa Vandenberg did, the Brain was going to kiss Pinky near the end. And she actually had a post on a deleted post, which apparently you could still see if you go to the Wikipedia. You can see this, that he tucks Pinky in, and maybe does he give him a kiss there? Yes, he kisses him right on the face as he tucks him into the thing. So, but they said that the Brain wouldn't outright give Pinky affection at this point in the show unless he thought Pinky wouldn't notice, which is precisely what happened in that Frankenstein one that we saw from season 1, where it was so blink and you miss it that I don't even think we all saw it at the time, but the brain leaned in to almost. In fact, it was so blatant you miss it that we were talking to Maurice LaMarche about Pinky and the Brain kissing and things like that. He had zero idea any of that was going on, and I know there's a lot of shipping with fandom and everything with Pinky and the Brain and everything, Brinky stuff. But when we talked to Maurice, we were telling him that, hey, this is a thing going on, just so you know. And he was very much like, oh, it is? He did not know anything about it. And he said outright, like, oh, yeah, there's no kissing of Pinky and the Brain. But they do act like, he said, kind of like an old gay couple at times. But fandom likes to have those things. And, I'm not going to disagree. Yeah, do what you... Have fun with what you want to have fun with, kids. Just don't be too disappointed when those fan theories and shippings don't actually occur in the show, is what I always say. Like, for example, like on Star Wars, there were so many people who wanted Poe and Finn to be a thing. And
I was thinking about Rey and Kylo.
That did kind of happen.
That did kind of happen.
Some people got upset that they did kiss. And then some people got upset that they kissed, and then that, Kylo's fate. So it's like nobody was happy with that, really.
Yeah.
As far as I can see.
The way they did it.
Some people were okay with it, but but you hear one extreme or the other, and they shouldn't have done that, or they shouldn't have done that.
They should
Kylo
be together forever. Yeah.
I think it was a good middle ground personally for me. For me, I was fine with it. It was just like, okay, yeah, they kissed, and people went. It was funny because my wife was sitting next to me, and my wife was like, "Yay!" And the guy is set in front of us was just like, "What?" He very like threw his hands up in the air, like, "Why would they do that?" kind of reaction, versus my wife going, "Yee!" Hooray! So,
no, I was not like your wife.
My wife is a fan of Kylo, and Kelly will never be a fan of Kylo.
I mean, you can't come back from that.
You
cannot come back from what he did to Han.
Yep.
There's no redemption. I don't care.
The safety wasn't on.
Don't care.
Yeah, if it was an accident. What if it was an accident?
# still mad.
Well, let's go ahead and get... I guess, is there anything else? I didn't even ask you guys. What did you think about the Pinky and the Brain one? Anything in here that you thought was humorous? Nathan, let's start with you.
I thought it was funny the way that Pinky kept talking about Narfday. So it's like, he has this whole list. It's midnight. He has every minute planned out like exactly. So it's like, we got to get started kind of thing, So it's kind of cute. We find out that Pinky's actual birthday is the same as Rob Paulson's, which was cool.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. That's nice.
Yeah, March 11th. So they both share the same day. It's like a cute little thing. And yeah, it was it just made me realize that Brain is insane because he keeps seeing all these visions that aren't happening, and Pinky's the genius that's able to plan out the whole day and down to the minute. So
that is
there we
very
go.
True, down to the last second where they grab a bus and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
That is pretty accurate there, Pinky. Kelly, what about you? Anything else in this first one that you particularly liked?
I think I've mentioned it all, but I really like the Narfday song. I like them both. But I kind of like the Pinky version. It's so frenetic, just like got this energy to it, and it's like Narfday.
Very punk.
I liked it. I don't even like punk music that much, but I don't know. I just like the energy of it.
That's about it, I guess. Let's go ahead and move on to Magna Cartoon.
Hey, no time for backstory, George Lucas. This is a 5-minute sketch. Places, people! Places! And... action.
Magna Cartoon was written by Lucas Crandalls and Timothy Nash. It was directed once again by Katie Rice. And in this one, the Warners are going up to, oh gosh, who's the king in this one right here? This is, I wanted to say King John, but that can't be it, right?
I think it is.
Oh, I was like, am I just getting Robin Hood on the brain? No, it's because I'm thinking Prince John.
But yes. It's during, it's during, because Richard's in the Crusades, right?
Yeah, Richard was the Crusades, and so maybe. Anyway.
Well, I mean, yes, King John of England.
Yeah, so there you go. So King John's worried about basically a civil war about to occur, and the Warners come up with this great plan to say, well, here's something that you could sign to keep the people at peace, which is this Magna Carta. And they sing this song, this little catchy tune about the Magna Carta.
That has to work.
And it's pretty nice. It's educational and pretty cute overall. There's some references in this to, obviously, to Star Wars. They start showing the scroll and it looks kind of like Star Wars, and that's where that George Lucas reference comes in right there. Which
I caught before they even referenced George Lucas. And the Game of Thrones style music.
Yes, at the very beginning, very Game of Thrones-y music stuff going on. There's also a cool quick reference to Yakko's world, where Yakko says every corner of the earth, and he's dancing back and forth in the same motion as he did in the original Yakko's world, which I thought was very cute. Overall, it was a nice song, a nice quick segment. I was a little disappointed that it was not a little bit longer, actually. But what did you two think about it? Nathan, what did you like about this last one?
I liked the educationalness of it.
Very good. Is that the longest word now? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. It was cute. The little fun like rhymes. It was I think a well written song, and it was just the right amount of educational. Magna Carta really does mean Great Charter. I don't think a habeas corpus meant what they said it was.
No,
I think it's actually like to the body or something. Like I was like, is that true? But still, like it was a fun song and meta. So yeah, it was enjoyable. So
all right, Kelly, what about you?
I liked it too. I didn't like King John's teeth.
Yeah,
they're nasty. And then when they showed him like all with boils or whatever on his face, after they said he didn't shower, it's like we don't need to see that. But there was one point where Wakko, they're saying something and he says, "Verily."
Again, it's almost lunchtime and I'm starving. Verily.
And I thought that was cute. And, their speech during the cartoon and kind of, I guess, I don't know if you'd call it Old English, but, or Middle English or what.
Yeah.
I have an English degree and I've never been great at like the medieval style.
It's called fancy talk.
Yeah. And just kind of cute.
All right. Well, it was a nice song. It was probably one of the, honestly, might be my favorite song that they've sung this season so far, probably.
It's not as good as Narfday.
Gauntlet thrown.
Narfday's better.
Well, I guess let's go ahead and get to, unless there's anything else you want to say about today's episode.
It took 4 people to write Narfday. It took 4 people to write this song. So
there we go. 4 people to write Narfday. Let's go ahead and get to our water tower rating. Well, what do you guys think? Out of 5 water towers, how many will you give this episode? I think this will be the one or two times we do this per season. I'll go first. I will give this one 3 water towers. mainly because I liked the second half, but I didn't like the first half that much. I didn't like the drawing one and everything. But the Pinky the Brain one was pretty cute. And I like the ending part, even though I thought it should have been longer. It was just kind of an up and down. It's like a lot of the episodes are very much up and down, but I did think this one at least ended strongly. Maybe didn't begin the strongest, but I did like how it wrapped things up towards the end. But what about you two? Nathan, how many water towers would you give it?
Oh, okay. I'll say 3. I think 3. A lot of the same reasons. Like it's fun. It's there's a lot in the episode because you get 4 segments, which is great, and you got Pinky the Brain, you got Warner's, and you got a song, which is great. But I don't know. Yeah, I think the first one, I don't know. Maybe just watching them like 10, 20 times by the end, I'm like,
yeah.
Maybe I just need to watch them once and then I'll be like 5 star. Yeah. 5 stars.
Gosh, I will say that's one of the things. It's going to be an ongoing criticism I have of the reboot is that the more I watch the episodes, the less funny I think they typically are.
But I did really like it the first. So, I'll bring it up to 3.5.
Ooh.
So there we go. Because of it was great the first time I saw it. So
there you go. 3.5. All right. Well, Kelly, what do you think?
Well, I got confused and thought we'd already talked about this episode, so I watched it again when I realized we hadn't, but I'd already seen it. So I'd seen it twice, and I liked it both times. So
don't watch it a third time.
Okay.
Well, maybe just not in succession. Like you watched them like a couple weeks apart. I think that's better too.
I think I did watch it a couple weeks apart because weren't we supposed to talk about it weeks ago?
A couple weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with 4 because, I mean, 2 of the segments, the Magna Carta and Narfday were a lot stronger than the other 2, but I really like the Narfday song, and the whole Pinky and the Brain episode I think was really strong. And, the George Lucas reference and Star Wars crawl. And I just thought the 2 strong points were really strong and kind of outshone the weaker parts of the episode. So.
Well, there we go.
And now I've got the Narfday song in my head.
Well, there we go. Well, there we go. That's an average of a 3.5. That's a pretty decent.
Good
grade.
math.
There we go. I know. I like it when it's easy. Well, let's go ahead and get to our contact information. Nathan, where can people get in contact with you online?
Joey, I'm on Twitter. JangoFT, that's me.
All right. And Kelly, what about you?
I'm also on Twitter, Yoda Princess, YODA, or email me, kelly@bigshinyrobot.com.
Okay. Well, as for the Animanicast, we're on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and some other things too, probably. And of course, you can subscribe to us on your favorite podcast player of choice, including YouTube. And if you're a super fan of Animaniacs and you would like to support our podcast as well, head on over to patreon.com/Animanicast and you can become a patron of our show. You'll get bonus audio of us talking about stuff. And most importantly, every week you're getting bonus Animaniacs commentaries featuring the creator of Animaniacs, Tom Ruger. And every now and then we get some other guests on as well. So if you ever wanted a commentary track where you get to kind of sit back and it's like you're watching the show with the guy who made the show, or actually created these characters, well, now's your chance. Go to patreon.com.
He knows stuff.
He knows stuff. He knows things. He knows how the sausage was made. Head on over to patreon.com/Animanicast. And of course, we're a proud member of the RetroZap Podcast Network. You can go to retrozap.com today for great podcasts and articles. And of course, join the RetroZap Discord server by the welcome link, which is discord.animanicast.com. That'll take you right on in there, and you can talk about Animaniacs with us or anything else pop culture that you possibly want to. There's a lot of really positive people in there, and we love them all. And we'd love to see you there too. So, for Nathan and Kelly, this is Joey saying good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
This podcast is not endorsed by Warner Brothers or Amblin Entertainment and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Animaniacs, Tiny Toon Adventures, Freakazoid, the Warner Brothers logo, all names, pictures, and sounds are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of the Animanicast unless otherwise indicated.